the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 28. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. First off, giving all praises, honor, and glory to the almighty power of Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, Yahushai. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Racha Kodash. Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Racha Kodash. Shalom and double honors unto the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the Akim wa Akwa. Shalom. Just want to go into a quick video. There's a new article I just came across. It says NATO on naturalnews.com says NATO pushing for Kaliningrad catastrophe by provoking Russia into global nuclear war. So we're going to go ahead and read parts of this article. I grab a few precepts and we'll go ahead and close out. You know, it's right there at the doorstep. Third World War, that thing in your hand that they're going to mandate, getting guaranteed, is right at the doorstep. And the famine, pestilences, anarchy, seditions among men, Jacob's trouble, all flesh being tested upon the earth. The last days are here, and it's about to become official real soon. And the chariots returning with the Messiah to redeem the elect. So it's high time to awake out of sleep, because the kingdom of heaven is at hand, extremely closer than we ever believed. So we'll go ahead and begin reading. It says the railway blockade of Kaliningrad is obviously a setup to try to provoke Russia into attacking a NATO member, Lithuania, so that NATO and the USA can justify a full-scale military assault on Russia. Once again, the neocons are scheming to plunge the world into global thermonuclear war in order to destroy the United States of America, while attempting to maintain dictatorial control over the world's natural resources and monetary systems. We know that the natural resources is everything coming from the earth, gold, silver, and all the minerals, everything in the earth, the seeds, the food, everything to control mankind, the food and water supply, along with all of the natural resources, the natural gas and all of the energy and all of everything. And monetary systems, we know that's the digital currency, which would be through the mark. No man may buy or sell any resources of food, water, and everything, working, driving, unless they have that. So I want to go real quick. This word neocons, it's a compound word, neo and conservative. So a neocon is neo means new, and cons means conservative. So new conservatives. So the new conservatives, let's go ahead and see if we can get it right quick. A person with neo-conservative views. So what is a neo-conservative view? Neo-conservatives typically advocate the promotion of democracy and interventionism in international affairs, including peace through strength, and that strength meaning a military, and are known for espousing disdain for communism and political radicalism. So this is all, serpent, fancy, gray area serpent talk for the, there's two powers in the earth, and it's the America and NATO and the shadow government of the Jewish and the Illuminati, the International Monetary Fund, the bankers that runs the earth, currency, and then Russia, India, China, and all of those Eastern Bloc nations that are trying to come up against and overthrow the current domination. So when you hear communism, we know who are communists. China's communists and Russia are communists. So it's basically one side versus the other. The America and NATO versus who are, liberal and political. I mean, liberal and democratic, and they're trying to maintain their authority over Russia, who's trying to rise up with China and all the communist regime and views. So that's what's going on. And neo means new, so new conservatives. They trying to, they're basically trying to maintain their power against Russia. And the mainstream news isn't reporting on this because actually it's really America, the whore, that's stirring up all this drama. Because what the main thing is, what's going on is what it hit me yesterday through the Holy Spirit when I was thinking about it, meditating upon it. All of this is because you have to go through the back channels and get the real news and the real truth that's really happening. So really, it's America. They, like Russia said, that America and NATO are barking at the gates of Russia, trying to provoke Russia into a war. Because all of this, actually, what's happening is America. What America is doing. They know at least know the prophecies. They're trying to circumvent. They're trying to stop biblical prophecy by provoking Russia into a war and destroy them. But that's not going to happen. Russia is going to destroy, and that's why the Most High is stirring up the Medes. That's why he's putting hooks back into the jaws of Russia, breaking them back to that old war, the old Soviet Union war spirit, to take down the whore. Because the whore, because the whore is trying to annex meaning absorb and bring in more countries, add more. Annex mean adding more countries to NATO. And America is trying to do that by taking all of the states and countries that surrounds Russia, trying to add as many countries as possible to NATO so that they can have a lot of countries to actually turn their nuclear warheads towards Russia and China and them and blow them up so that they can maintain their dominance. So all of these moves secretly and through the lying media covering it up is that America is just trying to overthrow biblical prophecy because they know that Russia is Gog and Magog. And the Most High has turned their spirit back to that warlike spirit of the Soviet Union. And that's why Russia took back Crimea during the Obama administration, because Crimea was a old Soviet Union nation, landmass that was a part of the Soviet Union of the Russians. And during the Obama administration, Russia took back Crimea. And then when Trump got in office, they laid low for a while. And then when Biden got back into power, when Biden, who was an extension basically of the Obama administration, he's not respected like Trump was, because Trump is they know that he would have been trigger happy with those nukes. So they laid low until Biden, a weak man, got into the office, and then now they're attacking, going after Ukraine. Because the thing about Ukraine, America was trying to add Ukraine also to the NATO, add them to to NATO as one of their confederates, because Ukraine was a former territory of the USSR, the old Soviet Union. And so America, all they're doing is very simple. They're trying to add as many territories surrounding Russia as possible into their confederacy of the NATO, so that they can have the numbers to go ahead and burn them with fire. Because the biblical prophecy is that Russia is going to have a major host, and even NATO members are going to turn on the U.S. and burn her with fire in the end. So the elites know this, so they're trying to reverse it and get people on trying to get those people on their side so they can take over Russia, so that's what's going on in the spirit through the Most High revealing to me. That's what it clicked to me, at least. And so it makes perfect sense. So right here in Ezekiel 38, It says, "And the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him." The Most High is rousing up Gog and Magog, which is the landmass where the Russians are today. So it's the Russians getting raised up. But the Most High is against them, but He's using them to do His purpose of fulfill His purpose of destroying Babylon the Great, America. Verse 3, "And say, Thus saith the Most High Power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal." So the Most High letting Russia and them know right out the gate that He's against them, but He's going to use them for a specific purpose to take down the whore, Babylon the Great, America. Verse 4, "And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws." You turn them back into what? Like you get an animal, put hooks in their jaws, and you taking that beast, turning the beast back, turning this particular Russian beast back to the USSR days, the Soviet Union days, the Cold War days. And put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth. So you're gonna turn them back to that war spirit, and then sick them on America. And I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor. It's going to be the most technologically advanced military and weaponry, and missiles and thermonuclear missiles. Excuse me. Even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So so Russia's going to be suited and booted with the top-notch military weapons, and they're going to equip their partners as well. They're all going to be ready for war against the whore, America. Persia. Persia is the modern-day Iranians, Iran, Ethiopia, and Libya with them. So people don't realize it's going to be countries that they didn't even expect going to be teamed up with Russia and all of and the old Soviet Union area, landmass. All of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, all of those eastern areas, teamed up with Russia. The house of Tagorma and of the North Quarters and all his bands. These are all the Far East countries from old. And many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So that means what? Russia is the big brother to all those little nations. They're gonna all those eastern all go east. All that landmass, all those eastern countries are going to team up. North Korea and all of them. China, of course, because China is their right hand, pretty much like the right hand man in Russia, and they're very powerful as well. And China has the strongest, most powerful economy. Because whenever you look at a tag, look at everything in your house, pretty much everything says made in China. So China has the greatest economy. They're the number one economy in the world, and Russia has the largest landmass and the best military, strongest military over there. So they're very powerful combined. And so the elites know this, and that's why NATO is trying to add Ukraine, and now they're trying to add Sweden and Finland, but Turkey is blocking Sweden and Finland from joining NATO because either Finland or Sweden or both have like about roughly 40 terrorists that Turkey are at odds with, and Turkey wants Sweden and or Finland to remove all of those terrorists out of their lands because they're not happy with the terrorists that Turkey are against dwelling in those lands. So that's the main reason why Turkey is blocking, because all of NATO they have to unanimously vote yes for a new addition to for a new country to join NATO. And Turkey is the only country, I believe, that is unhappy with those two nations, and they're blocking them from becoming teams, joining the board with the NATO. So America, they're doing everything they can to add as many countries surrounding Russia, like we've been talking about. America's trying to add as many countries as possible to its team to come up against Russia, because they know that in the end, Russia is going to destroy them. So they're just trying to stop biblical prophecy. That's all this is all about. Man, getting a stranglehold on the people, the citizens, and maintaining their power by encroaching and adding more and more nations to take out Russia and all of its confederates. So I just had to kind of go into that so we can kind of get an understanding of really what's happening that they're not speaking on. So this is the latest thing going on. So we'll continue. It says, so that NATO, so Kaliningrad is an area it's a country, it's an area that is a part of NATO, a part of America. And Russia has a railroad system that goes through Lithuania to get to Kaliningrad, because Kaliningrad is a Russian territory. And Lithuania is in between Russia and Kaliningrad. And there's a treaty where Russia has a right of passage to travel through that railroad system to get to Lithuania to get to Kaliningrad to provide them with their resources and everything that they need. But Lithuania is a part of NATO. America has Lithuania blocking the Russians from going through that railroad to get to their country area of Kaliningrad. So continuing on, the railway block. I'm gonna start from the top. The railway blockade of Kaliningrad is obviously a setup to try to provoke Russia into attacking a NATO member, Lithuania, so that NATO and the USA can justify a full-scale military assault on Russia. Once again, the neocons, which means new conservatives, which is the elites, the wicked elites of the Rothschilds and with America, the new conservatives are scheming to plunge the world into global thermonuclear war in order to destroy. Oh, sorry, no, hold up. New conservatives, the neocons are scheming to plunge the world into global thermonuclear war in order to destroy the United States of America while attempting to maintain dictatorial control over the world's natural. Well, excuse me, yeah, that is all right. It confused me for a second. Okay, because ultimately, the Illuminati, the shadow government, beginning with its 13 families headed by the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. You can look this information up. They own over 80% of the world's wealth, and they've drained America dry of all the money over here that they could. And basically, that's why she's called that's why America is referenced to in the scriptures as the whore, because all the nations came over here and got as much money as they could, and now this country is old and it's outdated now, and this country was nothing more than just a punishment for the Israelites and for all nations to get as much wealth as possible before they get burnt with fire. So the elites are done with America, and they're ready to go ahead and burn this place down. But at the same time, they're trying to overtake Russia as well, so that they can maintain their power on the earth through the digital chip and everything. So it's a lot of things at work right now, and this is definitely the end. So just gotta gotta break down every little thing. There's so many things happening because the Messiah Yahushua is about to return, to take down all these wicked demons, the Edomites, so-called white race. Yes, it's a whole lot of information going on, whole lot of things going on right now. There's a lot to break down and unpack. Let's see. Okay, the next paragraph. It says, to understand the full dynamic of what's happening, you need to first learn about the geography of Kaliningrad. So they're going to kind of go into it, and I'll expand the map here in a second. It says this Russian territory sits on the Baltic Sea, providing Russia its only year-round ocean access that isn't frozen over for part of the year. Kaliningrad is landlocked, however, and not physically connected to Russian mainland. So Kaliningrad is Russians' territory, is the Russians' area, part of their country, but ironically, it's not connected to the landmass of Russia. So Russia have to travel through a NATO territory, which is Lithuania, in order to get to Kaliningrad and do whatever business that they need with their landmass. So continuing on, a railway runs through Lithuania, connecting Kaliningrad to Russia proper. So like we're saying, in order for Russia, the only way that Russia can get to Kaliningrad is through the railroad that they have set up that runs through Lithuania, which Lithuania allows them full access to do so. A railway runs through Lithuania, connecting Kaliningrad to Russia proper. This railway passage has been in place for decades and has always been respected by Lithuania as Russia's been respected by Lithuania as Russia's right-of-way to supply Kaliningrad. So Russia supplies Kaliningrad by traveling through that railroad that runs through Lithuania, and Lithuania has been cool with it all these decades, but all of a sudden now they're blocking Russia from traveling through because of the whore, America, trying to provoke Russia to attack so that they can have their excuse and say, see, look what they're doing. They always hide their hand and say, look at what they're doing, trying to justify in the eyes of the people of them going to war with Russia. But this is all biblical prophecy, and America thinking that they're going to overcome Russia, but they're not, because America's time is up. It says, see this map from Encyclopedia Britannica. Kaliningrad is shown roughly in the center of this map to the west of Lithuania. So we'll go ahead. See, so over here is Russia. And so Russia got to travel, Latvia pretty much. And then Lithuania is right there. They got to travel through Lithuania with that railroad to get to Kaliningrad right here, which is Russia's territory, which is part of Russia. But they're not physically connected, so they got to travel through Lithuania. And America has put a blockade, is in cahoots with Lithuania, told Lithuania forces to block the railroad and stop Russia from traveling to their own land to supply their country with whatever they're going to do, So they're provoking Russia to attack them. Russia is actually being poked by the whore, the America. Lithuania's railroad blockade. Under pressure from NATO and the USA, see, this is all being done. America is all behind this. They're directing Lithuania footsteps on what to do. Lithuania, a NATO member nation, has now blockaded about half the cargo on that railroad, essentially declaring an illegal wartime blockade of Kaliningrad. This is an act of war against Russia, and it violates European Union rules allowing open access across borders. So this is an act of war. So if merely blocking a country's rite of passage of travel to their nation is an act of war, how much more against the children of Israel, so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, for slavery, They're hypocrites, man. That's why they're going to get burnt with fire and get utterly destroyed by Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua. And continuing on, says Russia, right here in this paragraph, Russia has demanded an immediate reversal of the blockade, with the Russian Foreign Ministry saying if in the near future cargo transit between the Kaliningrad region and the rest of the territory of the Russian Federation through Lithuania is not restored in full, then Russian reserves the right to take actions to protect its national interests. So Russia is just respond. Russia is merely responding. Russia is always in the serpent Jewish media is always demonizing Russia like it demonized the Israelites. So they making Russia seem like not to the extent and level of what they do to the Israelites to us, but anybody that opposed their rulership and domination of the earth is going to be demonized in their serpent media. So with that being said, so the media has been demonizing Russia as the big bad wolf, but actually Russia is basically pretty much being poked. Russia pretty much is really just innocent, just chilling, and they being provoked into a fight. Instead of getting pushed until they swing on them. So Russia has demanded that they reverse this and stop picking on them and messing with them, trying to make them fight. And if not, then they reserve the right to take action against it to protect its own national interests, as it's saying. So we'll continue going. It says Kaliningrad hosts short-range nuclear missiles that can reach Poland and Germany. Well, so I guess part of the reason why America and NATO is persuaded Lithuania to block Russia is because they could be equipped, because Russia could be traveling through Lithuania on the railroad to go to Kaliningrad to supply their landmass, their people over there with weapons, with missiles to attack Germany and Poland, because Russia has said they're going to stop fighting Ukraine. A while back, Russia was like, you know what, we're going to stop fighting Ukraine. Like, well, we're going to focus our attention as well to Poland and Germany, because Poland and Germany was supplying military weapons to Ukraine, because America was dropping the weapons over in Poland and Germany was giving the weapons on over to the Ukraine. And so America and NATO, they all are privy to this. They all understand what's happening, and they probably feel that what Russia's doing is equipping more warheads, more nuclear warheads, sending more nuclear warheads to Kaliningrad to get ready and just to be prepared to shoot those missiles at the NATO, at the European countries over there. And we'll keep reading here. It says, Kaliningrad is advantageously positioned to allow Russia to achieve denial of area military power projection over most of the Baltic republics, encompassing much of Germany and Poland, even using short-range missiles. So Kaliningrad is in a very good strategic position, and if they get those military missiles over there, then they can do some damage, and they're at a good range to shoot those missiles from Kaliningrad at the European Union and NATO over there in the London and UK and all those areas over there over there in Europe. So in reading in bold right here, it says Russia has the most advanced and modernized missile systems in the world. So that's very groundbreaking there. That's a big deal, because who's had the best military since at least World War II, when they dropped the bomb on Japan? America. But Russia has clearly surpassed America with the best, most high tech, powerful military weaponry. So that's a big deal. So that lets you know that everybody believes that America is the greatest military. Well, they had been, but Russia has surpassed them now. And so, excuse me. So it says, including So we read that in bold again. It says Russia has the most advanced and modernized missile systems in the world, including the Iskander missile with a range of 500 kilometers. Iskander missiles are launched from road-ready vehicles and are therefore mobile. So they have they oh excuse me. Come on. So they have so Russia got a lot of military trucks and cargo trucks or whatever that carries thermonuclear missiles that they can shoot a certain distance. They short range. They're not the intercontinental. They're not intercontinental ballistic missiles that can shoot from one continent to another continent. So they got to get close enough to be able to shoot those short range thermonuclear missiles. And that's more than likely what Russia's doing, sending nuclear warhead missiles to Kaliningrad, traveling through Lithuania, so that they can have those missiles in range in Kaliningrad over there. That's within range to shoot to Europe, the UK, and all of those areas over there to blow them up. So it's going to be a lot, like I was saying, like it's going to be a bunch of, it's kind of like a pay-per-view, like if anyone watch boxing and the UFC, the MMA pay-per-views, right? This is all like a pay-per-view event. It's the preliminary fights, then it's the undercard fights, then it's the mid-card, then it's the co-main event, and then the main event. So they're going to start out. Russia going to be fighting these little mini battles with the less stronger militaries of NATO. That's the NATO members, and then the main event is going to be Russia versus the main event showdown championship bout is going to be for all the marbles, Russia versus America. And so let me show you this Iskander missile right quick. Get a little web search on that. This is how it looked. So this is why they traveling through Lithuania to get to Kaliningrad to equip and put these little military vans over there. These military trucks over there with the thermonuclear missile warheads attached to the back. These are short range missiles that can reach to the European countries over there from that Kaliningrad area that Lithuania is blocking right now. So it says the 9K720 Iskander is a mobile short-range ballistic missile system produced and deployed by the Russian military. The missile systems are to replace the obsolete OTR-21 Tachka systems, still in use by the Russian armed forces by 2020. So just to get a brief understanding of what's happening and what these missiles will, an idea of what Russia's sending on over to Kaliningrad, so that's all it is about for Russia to equip to get closer, basically, and to get in range, striking distance with those thermonuclear missiles to the European Union and European countries. So Third World War is here. Where else we're going? Where we at? Okay, so right after the bold right there, it says including the Iskander missile with a range of 500 kilometers. Iskander missiles are launched from road-ready vehicles and are therefore mobile. Okay, so we'll read here again at this next paragraph. The Iskander missile system can carry nuclear warheads. It can also carry conventional warheads and even fuel-air explosives, thermobaric explosives, which can penetrate bunkers. So I didn't really do, for time's sake, I won't go into all of that. You can do the research on it yourself, but I'll leave a link in the description for the article. But it's just showing you that they got so many different style weapons and thermonuclear missiles. It's crazy. So right here it says Vladimir Putin has put his nuclear forces on alert. A shock for many, but even more so for those just across the Polish border from Kaliningrad, where Russian nuclear missiles are stationed, and aimed at European capitals from Warsaw to Berlin. The region, which is geographically separated from Russia and located by the Baltic Sea, is of vital importance to Moscow when it comes to threatening Europe with nuclear weapons in particular. So Russia don't want to use the Satan missile because the Satan missile covers all like a it'll cover a ton of land. It'll even affect Russia. So Russia got to use tactical nuclear missiles that covers a small little pocket because though this Iskander missile it'll only wipe out European countries over there, European cities and countries over there, and the radiation and the fire won't spread to Russia. So that's why it's of utmost importance for Russia to get to that landmass of Kaliningrad, but they have to travel through a NATO territory to get there. But Lithuania, a ally to America, is the America and NATO has told Lithuanians to stop Russia because Russia is going. If the Russians get those get enough over there, then they're going to be in position to threaten Europe and say, "Hey, y'all cut it out. We're about to bomb you." So that's what's that's what's going on right now. So I'll skip a little bit of this. We can look at this chart real quick. It says Russia's land-based missiles. So this goes into. We'll read the description. It says Russia boasts the widest inventory of ballistic and cruise missiles in the world. Moscow's strategic rocket forces perform a variety of missions, from anti-access and area denial in local conflicts to the delivery of strategic nuclear weapons. Significant modernization efforts include new heavy ICBMs, and the ICBM, that's what we were just talking about. That stands for intercontinental ballistic missiles. That means that these missiles, those are the big boys, the heavyweight thermonuclear missiles that can go from Russia to America, as well as ground-launched cruise missiles in violation of the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty. So here you have, so if you can kind of look and see it sideways, I can't flip it around, but see, Russia has the most diverse or have the most diverse arsenal of military missiles, from explosive missiles to thermonuclear missiles. So right here it goes into the different sizes, and here and down here it gets larger and larger, and then right here is the demon of them all, the Satan missiles over here. These are the ones right here. See the last two. It says what, SS-18 Satan, 16,000 kilometers. And what was the other one? 500 kilometers. And this one goes 16,000 kilometers. These can go to, these are intercontinental ballistic. These can go from continent to continent with no problem. And that's what the scripture say, for shots, the arrows will be shot into the ends of the earth. Those ballistic missiles that go from one end of the earth to the other to blow up and destroy America with fire. So right here, this number 10 right here, SSX 30 Satan 2. That's that one right there, Satan 2. And that's the anyone heard recently that Vladimir Putin said only 2 Satan 2 missiles. All he needs is 2 of those Satan missiles to blow up, to destroy half, to wipe out the entire east coast of the USA. And then he said he needs only 2 more of them to wipe out the rest of the whole country, from the Midwest, South, Midwest, all the way over to the West. So basically, in total, all Vladimir Putin needs is 4 Satan 2 missiles to destroy America. But it won't just be 4, because remember, all these other nations are going to have thermonuclear missiles as well, and all of his armies and Confederate that's with him are going to shoot her and burn her with fire. So those are the precepts there, and got a couple of precepts. We're going to go ahead and grab a couple more. See, because America is done. America was the world's greatest army back in the day. Why? Because the Lord was with America and allowed them to rule, because they had to rule. Why? The main reason why America was in power is because they had the Israelites in captivity, and the Most High was using America to chasten and punish the Israelites. We had to suffer underneath them. That's why the Most High was with America, so that they can be on top and have us in captivity and punish us for a while. But now that our iniquity is complete, the Lord is not with America anymore, and that's why they've been losing, and that's why this country is falling apart, because the Most High is no longer protecting them and allowing them to rule. The Edomites, their pride has deceived them. They thought they were thriving because of their own strength. No, the Most High was allowing them to be on top. Why? Because they were only to be empowered to chasten and punish. We're just being punished over here for a while. Now our captivity is accomplished. Our sin is accomplished now, and now it's time for us to go home. And he's raising up Russia to take out the whore and redeem us up out of here. And then he's going to take out Russia. Then the kingdom of heaven officially being effect. So we'll get Lamentations chapter 4. I know I'm kind of talking a lot, going through a lot of the article, but it's kind of important to kind of have this video here to kind of get up to speed on what's all happening right now, because it's a lot that's not been talked about through the media that you won't hear. Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 21. We'll start at 22 and go up to 21. Verse 22. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. And the Most High is doing that by revealing that man of sin through the social media. Everybody is exposing them and headed by the prophets of the Most High, crying and sighing for the abominations in the midst thereof that's done. So in verse 21 it says, Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and shalt make thyself naked. So, the Edomites over here, mainly, chiefly the whore, Babylon the Great, America, has been able to thrive with the Israelites in captivity. But now, that's the only reason why, like I say, the only reason why America, the so-called white man, has been winning all of these years and been on top is because the Most High used him, needed him to be on top at the moment to punish us. Now that our punishment is over, now you're seeing the white man crumble, seeing America crumble at the seams right before our very eyes, because he's raising up Russia, and it's about to be a very agonizing downfall for America, because the Most High is going to make them suffer before we take them out with fire for their punishment, for their judgment, for their wicked deeds against his chosen nation. For with that being said, I hope this video was edifying. The water to the Ruach HaKodesh from the Almighty power of Yahweh in the name of his only begotten Son Yahweh Shai. I hope this video was edifying. Until the next video, I say, Shalom.